listening to Pre-Market Prep. I'm Brianna Valesky here with Joel Elconin. We have Igor Gonta on the line. He's the CEO of Market Profit. Igor spent 13 years on Wall Street in commodity sales and trading, having worked at Goldman Sachs, Barclays, Credit Suisse, and Constellation Energy. He has a broad experience and a deep understanding of markets, trading, quantitative analysis, and derivatives pricing. Igor, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, you've got quite a resume. Tell us a little bit about your market background.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I spent 13 years on Wall Street, mainly in commodity sales and trading, on the sales side and structuring side. And we covered the entire energy spectrum: oil, natural gas, electricity markets, coal, LNG, you name it. Excuse me. Yeah, we did that. Did that for a while, servicing corporate and private equity type clients, and it's kind of where I cut my teeth on a lot of this big data analytics kind of stuff that I'm doing now. And then I went off to do what I'm doing now.
Absolutely. You're the CEO of Market Profit. So tell us a little bit about it. How does it work and how can people use it?
Absolutely. So we take in the Twitter fire hose and we strip out messages that specifically refer to individual stocks, currencies, and commodities. And those are the tweets that have a ticker that's prefaced with a dollar sign in front of it, or the infamous cash tag. So we only care about listening to chatter where people are talking about the actual security itself and not the product of the company. And then what we do is we process that stream through natural language processing on it to score every tweet and convert it into a sentiment score on a scale of -1 to 1, where +1 is the most bullish and -1 is the most bearish, and then everything in between. We call that signal the crowd signal, which means we don't filter anybody out. Everybody is in the pool, and everybody's voice gets an equal weight when we average out everybody's signal. That's kind of the first thing that we do. But here's how we're different, and here's how we differentiate ourselves from other folks out there. We came up with a way to score and rank everybody on Twitter, or at least all the financial bloggers, based on how predictive their tweets are, and how much money their tweet hypothetically made. And by doing so, we generate a score called the Market Profit Score, which just gets generated for them every day. So think of it as a trader's P&L, right? Trader trades every day. They're either up or lost money. In our instance, it's kind of the same thing, although we put some statistics around it. And so now a user of our site can tell by the score next to an individual whether they're a good predictor, a so-so predictor, or quite in fact a bad predictor. And this allows you to quickly scan a fire hose of info and more easily curate, search, and discover, and even set alerts for people, tweeters, that you might care about. So you might be able to say, hey, find me the top 3 market profits that are the best in Apple, and shoot me an email if they tweet something bullish. And that way I don't have to sit there as an investor and read 100,000 tweets and try to figure out who the best guys are, what are they saying, what do the tweets mean, what's a call option, and
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, there's so much noise on Twitter, and so a tool that helps you filter through it and find the people who are actually making correct calls can be incredibly useful. I'd love to talk about some of the sentiment for some of this morning's pre-market movers that we were discussing a little bit earlier. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
All
Yeah,
right.
definitely. Let's do it.
Awesome. Well, of course, GE is a big mover this morning. It's selling most of its real estate assets. It's doing a $50 billion stock buyback. What can you tell about GE this morning?
Sure. Let me get GE up. So, yeah, GE. Couple of big reorgs going on here. Just so you know, the sentiment going into today's announcement on GE. We have two signals. As I described, we've got the crowd, and then we've got the signal from the market profits, which are the people that we score, right? The quote unquote smart money.
Mm-hmm.
So, interestingly enough, on this one, coming into the announcement, the crowd was bullish, and the market profits were actually bearish coming into this announcement.
Interesting.
So, in this one, the crowd got it right. Not to say that the market profits always get it right, and that the crowd always gets it wrong. Sometimes the reverse takes true. Usually, though, the market profits get it more right than wrong. But in this instance, the crowd had the right call. If you look at what's happening literally right now, after the news broke, let's look at the sentiment literally right now. Obviously, a lot of tweet volume happening,
Right.
lots of activity on tweet volume. And what we're seeing at this very minute is now, of course, the market profits have caught up to the crowd, and they're both spiking pretty bullish right here and right now. So I think when both the crowd and the market profits are in alignment together, there's strong agreement, and and it's positive. I think I think they think it's a good deal.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a great point. One of our Wall Street darlings, it's like it seems like whether or not there's news in it, people are always talking about Apple. What are you seeing for Apple at the end of this week?
Yeah, sure. Apple. I love Apple. I own a lot of Apple uh, uh, products. Wish I owned more stock. So look, so Apple coming into today's call, literally as of last night's close, we had another case of bifurcated sentiment. So again, here crowd was bullish, but the market profits are bearish on Apple. I think the iWatch is out. I think the jury is out, and we'll see how people take to it, and we'll see if it'll be a niche product or if it will be a mass market product, and how the market will take on to it. Having said that, the iPod and all future iPhones were started out as niche, and then of course, they turn into, well, here we are where we are. So you never know. Even if it's niche, it could still turn out to be a monster. But jury's out right now. Smart money saying it's a little bearish, a little cautious, but the crowd, which tends to be a lover of momentum,
Mm-hmm.
is kind of bullish all the way.
Okay. Another one that we were looking at earlier this morning was the Gap. They released same-store sales.
Right. Okay. Let me bring up the Gap. Here is the Gap, and here we go. So on the Gap, here we go. We did they release them this morning?
I think it was last night.
Last night. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool. So for the Gap, not a lot of volume of tweets on the Gap, so we actually only have the crowd signal. But nevertheless, let's see at least what the crowd is saying for the Gap. They released them last night, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't follow the Gap with the same store sales in line, above line, below line. Seems like they were below line.
Yes.
They were in the
Yes.
transaction, or
Yes.
they were below line.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Well, interestingly enough, coming into the sentiment this morning, we had crowd sentiment on our platform was pretty negative. We had a
Yeah.
minus 1.5 standard deed move on bearish on Gap as of last night's close. So seem to the sentiment seemed to precede the bad number.
Yeah,
So I
definitely.
think the market called it right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. One last one we can take a look at from this morning. How about CTXS? That's the one that had lower guidance from this morning, and you and I were discussing.
Okay. All right.
Citrix.
CTXS. This
Yes.
take a look. Citrix Systems. All right. Here we go. They've lowered their guidance this morning.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so they're down about $3 a share already.
Mhm.
Lower their guidance, big tank on the morning. Let me just tell you what they look like, at least coming into the morning. Again, not a lot of volume, so we only have the crowd. The crowd signal coming in into the morning was very bearish. In fact, started going bearish actually as early as this Monday, April 6th. Big spike down in negative sentiment, recovered somewhat, but then another huge negative 3 standard deviation spike. That's a big move in sentiment as of last night's close. So something was afoot. Now let's take a look at what happened this morning. Obviously, right on the open or right before the open, they come in with the bearish news and lots of activity. Obviously, immediate negative reaction, but I got to tell you, on the dip, with the big dip down, sentiment's spiking positive here, actually, as people are starting to, weigh, kind of short-term opportunistic trades maybe for, kind of in it for a day trade. So, they may not be long believers. They may not look for necessarily the fundamentals as to what caused the dip in the price, but you're going to get a lot of different kinds of market participants step in and look at the price action intraday. And in intraday, it seems like, at least with early signs, that that there may be some bottom fishing potentially going on. But we'll have to watch it very closely because it's kind of tick by tick here. Actually, we just got another tick that just went really bearish negative. So even as we were speaking, sentiment just went negative pretty strongly.
Oh wow.
So not looking good. Not looking good actually. That is the speed of sentiment. That's
Yeah,
the speed of social.
absolutely. And I think that's one of the great things about your product is that all of your data is in real time. We've only got a few minutes left with you here, Igor. So
Sure.
let's take a look at one more issue. Netflix. I believe it was a downgrade from this morning. Yeah, downgraded this morning. I'm interested to
Yep.
see what some of the sentiment on that stock is.
Absolutely. Downgraded this morning, but of course, along Netflix fashion, it is up $9.50 a share. Who would have thought?
Right.
So I guess they don't care.
Mhm.
They were downgraded from what to what? From buy to hold,
Oh, I'm
positive to
sorry.
neutral,
Actually,
which is
it was an upgrade. That was my mistake. Yeah.
it's an upgrade. Okay,
Yes.
now it makes sense. So an upgrade. Okay, makes
From
sense.
neutral to
Upgrade.
buy.
What'd you say?
It was an upgrade from neutral to buy.
Mutual buy. Okay.
Mhm.
Big research firm.
City. Yeah, Citigroup.
Oh, City. Okay, cool. All right. Well, let me tell you what was going, how our sentiment was trending into today, and then I'll see exactly the price action of what's going on right now. So, leading up into this morning's upgrade, we had sentiment, both crowd and market profit, just steadily being negative, but going on a very steep upslope. The crowd went squarely into the positive camp on April 6th, Monday of this week, while the market profits were slightly negative, a little bit cautious, but with a very small signal, so pretty much neutral, I would say. But the crowd broke away from it on April 6th with a pretty strong bullish signal. Now let's take a look. So that was a good call on their part. And now let's take a look at what's happening intraday. Markets open, got a big pop on the open. Let's take a look at the two signals right here, right now. Let's see what the crowd is doing. Crowd comes in the morning. Obviously, the news comes out. It was bullish coming in. After the pop, actually, crowd is trending negative because it was most likely, since the crowd was bullish coming into from yesterday into this morning, most likely the market was coming in long. And these are guys that are saying, oh, big pop, I'm going to take some risk off the table. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are long-term bears. It just means that they're risk managing themselves. So we're going to have to see how their sentiment action evolves throughout the day, and if in fact they're going to be buying future dips and selling future rallies as they trade the range. So they are bearish as we speak, but having said that, they are the stock is up 10%, so they are trying to probably capture that alpha from overnight. Let's take a look at the market profits. Market profits actually, interestingly enough, they were coming in bearish. They were bearish. The news came up and it got announced. They violently went and switched from bearish to bullish, and bought it on the open, and they're still remaining bullish right here because they're believers. And right now it's trending bullish all the way, even after the pop. The smart money has pretty good positive sense. So it'll take some time for the numbers to be dug in and what the research analysts said, and how the market will position itself from kind of just the general crowd and the research analysts and the retail investors versus the smart money guys or the day traders and the active guys and the swing traders, and how the two will tussle throughout the day. But it definitely, you'll be able to see the different boundary conditions of where floors and ceilings are going to be set in throughout the day, and how the day is going to close out in preparation for Monday's open.
Definitely. Igor, before we let you go, I have to ask, you attended the first annual Benzinga FinTech Awards Gala. How was it?
Yeah, it was like it was a conference on steroids. I mean, it was literally the most highest concentration of fintech firepower I've ever seen in one room. I mean, it was almost like the theater of the absurd. It was you'd walk around and Elliot Spitzer's having hamburgers, and Jeff Mackey's running around interviewing people, and senior executives from Schwab and Fidelity are having little shrimp cocktails. I mean, just amazing stuff. The density. There should be a new metric for conferences, which is density of quality of people, number of quality of people per unit square foot.
I agree. We'll have to make that a new metric for all conferences. Should be measured on this metric.
Yes, and you guys definitely blew that metric through the roof. So nothing bad to say. It was awesome. Really loved demoing there. I got tons of contacts, tons of follow-up, and just lots of fintech love.
All right, that's wonderful. Thanks so much for the kind words. Igor Gonta, he's the CEO of Market Profit. You can check that out online. Thank you so much for joining us today, Igor. We'll have to have you back on again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Brianna. Looking forward to it.